Can and will interest rates hit 3% by the end of the year? This is Dawn Connors at Mortgage One. Well, much like weather forecast, it seems that economists are the only two professions that can make predictions and be wrong and still keep their jobs. With that being said, it is probably possible but not likely that interest rates will hit 3% by the end of the year. I mean, granted, that's only 6 months away, and there's a lot to be said to happen in the 6 months. And feds keep raising rates on the short-term interest rates and doing some purchasing of mortgage-backed securities or mortgage bonds, causing rates to suppress. But the two are not working hand in hand, and these interest rates are hovering around 7% right now. So the likelihood of them coming down to 3% is probably unlikely by the end of the year. I do think that they are going to start downward pressure and start coming down. Will they hit 3%? I think it's unlikely, but we'll see. I need a break. I think it's unlikely, but we'll see. So the next part of this question is, will rates ever hit 3% again? Well, I got to tell you, back in the late 70s, no one thought rates would hit 10%. But at around 1978, rates hit 10%. And they continued to rise to 1982, where rates hit a record high of 18%. Get that, 18%. That was under the jurisdiction or that was under the governance of Jimmy Carter? Okay. So do I start again, or do I just say that was under the governance?
Just start again.
Okay.
It's easier.
Okay. Okay. Will we ever see 3% again? I don't know. I think so, but I'm not sure. So, I need water. This isn't working. Can you pause it? This is drying on my mouth. It's ridiculous. Sorry. There's a long history of single-family housing prospering in the U.S., where rates were... Is it going right now?
Yeah, it's going right now.
Thank you.
It's easier for me to let it go. Because when I stop and the light changes, and trust me. It's fine.
Okay. Will we ever see 3% again? Well, I don't know. But here's the thing. Rates hit 10% the first time ever in 1978, and they continued to rise to an unprecedented 18% by about 1982 under the governance of Jimmy Carter. They continued in the double digits for, I don't know, like a decade until they came back down. And then for years and years, they hovered at around 5 or 6%. And then not the pandemic, the mortgage crash hit first in 2008, causing rates to go down below 5% to 4%, and then the pandemic to 3%. And just about a year ago, rates have risen. So we've seen over the last, 15 years, rates super low. And so it's not that 7% is terrible. It's just that we're used to seeing 3%. And we want 3%. It's like we have FOMO, an opposite, right? We're bummed, we're pissed, really, because we don't get that 3 or 4% rate anymore. We have to pay 6 and 7%. And we're like, hey, I want that 3% rate. But here's the thing. Over the course of history, the United States has prospered in the way of single-family dwellings, whether rates were high or whether they were low. Prices continue to rise. a lot with inflation, a lot with increasing of prices, and a lot just because it's a great investment to buy a home and to have it appreciate over the years. So whether rates are 7%, whether their rates are 3%, whether the rates are 14%, markets have increased and it's been a good investment. You just don't like it, right? So maybe you don't like it because you know that 3% was in the past, or maybe you don't like it because maybe you don't like it because the math. Maybe you don't like it. Maybe you don't like it because you're used to seeing rates at 3%, or maybe you don't like it because the math doesn't seem to work out. But here's the thing. You buy a home when it's right for you. And then the 7% rates that we see should be inspiration for you to pay extra on your home loan, to pay it off, to get out of debt, pay extra where you can, and have an interest rate of 0 eventually instead of a mortgage for 30 years at an interest rate of 7%, and look to refinance to 4% and then 3% eventually. How about you pay extra on your loan and you get out of debt like Dave Ramsey recommends? That would be something really special. So let the 7% motivate you to get into a home, and motivate you to go ahead and pay that mortgage off quick. This is Dawn Connors at Mortgage One, providing fantastic mortgage solutions. And it remains to be seen what will happen at the end of the year into 2024. I'm looking forward to watching myself.